organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, there's no place like home. But for some Iowa City residents, they may have to find a different home. We have the details coming right up.
And the week-long trial is over. Find out what the fate of the former UI student Evan Pfeiffer is.
And in sports, women's hoops and wrestling renew state rivalries during a triple header at Carver on Saturday.
That and much more is coming your way. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning in to your Sunday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Brad Maxwell.
And I'm Lauren Moss. After several days on trial, Evan Pfeiffer was found guilty of third-degree sexual assault. Pfeiffer is a former University of Iowa student who was accused of sexually assaulting a woman on the Pentacrest back in the fall of 2010. The victim testified about the incident on Wednesday during the trial, saying she was walking back to Stanley Residence Hall early in the morning when Pfeiffer approached her and raped her. 20-year-old Pfeiffer faces up to 10 years in prison.
And with more and more students pouring into campus, the issue of where to put them persists. The University of Iowa is looking at leasing 2 new apartment complexes to help offset the living space. One of the buildings is located right here at 112 East Bloomington, only a few streets away from campus. The second one is only a block away on North Dubuque Street. The Board of Regents will discuss the 2 locations at their meeting this week. The university is currently building a new dorm that is expected to open in 2015.
And more than 45 Iowa City families have some tough choices to make in the upcoming months. Residents of the Dolphin Lake Point apartment complex may have to leave their home or forfeit their voucher for housing. We have our own Daily Iowan reporter, Katie Kuntz, standing in the studio with more. Katie?
That's right, Lauren. For many of those families, the housing vouchers are critical to afford their rent. Since almost all the families are choosing to leave Dolphin Point, the Coalition for Racial Justice hosted a workshop on Thursday to help the family members minimize damages, avoid charges, and receive their deposits back when they move out of their current homes. Since many of these 45 families rely on public funding to afford their homes, the workshop was full Thursday night. After a quick meal, these community members worked hard on preparing themselves for their move.
A lot of people have to move out of Dolphin Point, so it's a very timely workshop.
Of the community members who attended, some voiced concern about the unethical practices from their landlords. All were engaged and wanted their questions answered, and worried that they would lose their deposits or face unreasonable charges upon moving out.
Now, am I responsible for that?
We're here to help people that are moving out of their apartment or moving in their apartment, set themselves up so that they can get their down payments back. We're going to talk to them about normal wear and tear and damages. Normal wear and tear you don't have to pay for, that's the landlord's responsibility. Damages that you put on your apartment you do have to pay for.
Yeah, so that's right, that is damages.
Still, community members were skeptical, questioning what they would do if their landlord did try to charge them.
We're going to teach them about the law. We're going to give them some sample letters that they can send their landlord if they're moving out so they can facilitate getting their down payment back. And that's about the extent of the workshop.
Moving from one home to the next is a difficult task for anyone, but for these low-income families have to be especially mindful, looking for a new home that will accept their vouchers, but also in avoiding charges for potential damages. The workshop on Thursday was only one in a series to help the families prepare for their move. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Katie. And still to come on Daily Iowan TV, finding a college is getting a bit easier. Stay tuned in to find out how much easier it is.
And in sports, we're bringing in wrestling insider Sam Luaji for perspective on the Hawks' battle with the Cyclones.
But first, we have Stefan Duran in the weather studio for a quick update on tomorrow's weather. Stefan?
Well, guys, we had what felt like an early September day today with highs in the 60s, and it looks like the warm weather is going to stick around. Tomorrow morning, we are going to start things off with 52 degrees and cloudy skies. In the afternoon, we will have a high temps of a very unusual 64 degrees, and unfortunately there will be a 40% chance of rain. The rain will stay with us throughout the evening, but temps will cool back down into the low 50s. Now let's take a look at the rest of the week. Tuesday looks to be rainy as well, with a slight chance of showers and highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday will be the coldest day of the week with a high of only 40 degrees and sunny skies. On Thursday, temps warm back up into the lower 50s and lows will be in the chilly lower 30s. The weekend looks to be colder and gloomy with a 20% chance of rain on Friday and highs of the lower 40s on both Friday and Saturday. So if you're looking for December snow anytime soon, you may be out of luck. Back to you guys.
Having a little shopping sheet never hurt anyone, especially when it comes to finding the right fit for college. And now the University of Iowa will be listed on the National College Shopping Sheet that compares school tuitions for prospective students. The university will adopt this new service along with 500 other colleges and universities nationwide.
And now let's take a look at what's happening outside of Iowa. Rescuers were on the scene Sunday after panels blocked a tunnel in Japan. 150 panels fell from the roof of the tunnel, blocking a major highway linking Tokyo to central Japan. At least 7 people are missing and several died on site.
Republicans or Democrats, who will give in first? Well, Washington has less than a month to negotiate the debt ceiling. According to Tim Geithner, Republicans have to raise taxes on the wealthiest 2% of Americans. The Treasury Secretary said Sunday in an interview with CNN's State of the Union less than a month before the Bush-era tax cuts expires.
And standing at 267 feet tall, the General Grant sequoia tree did not cut it as the #2 tallest tree in the world this year. Its fellow neighbor, the president, captured the #2 position, standing at 54,000 cubic feet. But after 3,000 years, the General Grant is still growing wider but not taller at a consistent rate.
And Lauren, busy weekend on the sports side of things.
Yeah, that's right, Brad. So many teams have been in action over our programming break. So with that, we'll toss it over to Ian Martin, who's standing by in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Ian?
That's right, Lauren. A lot going on in Hawkeye country as we welcome you back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. One of the busiest Hawkeye sports weekends to date with the hoops teams and grapplers both in action at Carver. Swimhawks shattered some records in the pool as well, and both gymnastics and track opened up their seasons with intra-squad meets. But we start today's program with the men's hoops team looking to bounce back from back-to-back losses. Franz Gang hoping a 1-4 Texas A&M Corpus Christi could cure the recent hiccups and get them back on the winning track. We now go to Daily Iowan TV sports basketball reporter Eric Dawn, who was courtside for the matchup. Eric?
Thanks, Ian. It turns out Texas A&M Corpus Christi was just what Coach Fran McCaffrey's bunch needed, looking to get back on their feet after back-to-back losses. The Hawks were looking to take advantage of a size advantage they held over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Here, freshman Adam Woodbury backs his man down and with the lefty hook off the glass puts the Hawks up early. Woodbury wouldn't be done there. In transition, fellow freshman Mike Giselle finds Woodbury, this time with the right hand, hooks it in, and the Hawks go up big early. Not to be outdone by his freshman counterpart, Melson Basabi goes hard with the and one, further extending the Hawkeyes' lead. Corpus Christi just couldn't quite get anything going offensively as the Hawks swarm away with the steal here and push it in transition. Anthony Clemens finding Melson Basabi one more time for the driving layup. Basabi finished the game leading all scorers with 17 points and 5 rebounds. After having a quiet first half, Devin Marble exploded in the second half, scoring 13 of his 15 in the period, including those 2 there with the beautiful running jumper. The Hawkeyes cruised to an 88-59 victory, improving their record to 6-2 on the season. To go along with Basabi's 17 and Marble's 15, Adam Woodbury contributed 13 points and 5 rebounds as the Hawkeyes dominated the ball inside, shooting 55% as a team. This is Eric Dawn, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Bluter's bunch was in action as well. Up and down season so far for the Hawks women's basketball team, but in-state rival Northern Iowa was in town, and the Hawkeyes flipped the script from their last performance against Florida State and handled the Panthers. Daily Iowan TV Sports' Giovanna Simic caught all of the action and has the highlights. Giovanna?
The Iowa women's basketball team took on interstate rivals Northern Iowa Saturday. The home crowd was expecting a comfortable win, but just before halftime, the visiting team made it appear otherwise. Iowa took its first lead at 4-3 when sophomore Samantha Logic scored a jumper a little over 2 minutes into the game. Then senior Morgan Johnson extended the lead to 7-3 with a layup and a free throw. Northern Iowa was able to cut the lead to 6, and thanks to an 11-point, 8-rebound effort from Morgan Johnson and 7 points from senior Jamie Prunty, Bluder's bunch plotted its way to a 30-24 lead at the half. Things changed in the second half, though. Bluder's bunch took an 18-8 run to a 10-point game, and after that, the Hawkeyes never looked back, winning the game 68-46. Iowa won this game on rebounds, where it built a commanding 43-31 advantage, and in the paint, where the Hawkeyes outscored the Panthers 34-4. A big night for Morgan Johnson, who finished the game with a double-double with 19 points and 12 rebounds. Samantha Logic also impressed the crowd, adding 15 points to the Iowa win. The win pushed Bluder's bunch to 6-3 and eager to take on Iowa State, another in-state rival, this Thursday. Giovanna Simic, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Thanks, Giovanna. And hoops may have impressed over the weekend, but the hottest ticket in town, how about the Iowa State wrestling on the mats for one of the most heated rivalries in all of college sports. 31 titles between the two schools that are separated by just 2 hours. With that, we're pleased to bring in Daily Iowan sports editor and wrestling reporter Sam Luwaji with more. And Sam, a lot of hype's going into this one, but the Hawks dismantled the Cyclones. What did you take from the Black and Gold's performance?
Well, you know, one of the biggest things to take, I think, is that this is a really down year for Iowa State wrestling. And even, you know, Tom Brands kind of admitted earlier this week that the rivalry has lost a little bit of its luster with the Cyclones out of the top 25. They have 7 underclassmen in their starting lineup, and, you know, that gap was really apparent in Carver on Saturday.
And as far as the Hawkeyes' perspective, could they glean anything against this not as good as the past Iowa State squad?
Well, you know, only the Iowa wrestling team could be disappointed after a 32-3 win against a rival, but that's kind of what they were in the post-match. Tom Brand said that he was upset that they didn't get any pins. He said they left a lot of points out there on the mat. But so, you know, I mean, it's a little bit perfectionist, but that's kind of the way that program is. So they'll have to kind of sharpen that up a little bit going forward. Yeah,
you're right. Only Iowa wrestling could be unhappy after a blowout loss against their biggest rival. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have on today's show. A whole lot more on all of the competition that took place over the weekend, what we didn't get to coming up in tomorrow's show, including the Monday evening whip around. We'll also have a fresh perspective on the number of records set in the pool this weekend by an Iowa swim team looking extremely dangerous for Big Ten play after their first true test this weekend. Back to you guys at the desk.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into Monday's edition of the Daily Iowan. Read about the new changes the University of Iowa Athletics Department is making.
And look for photos and some of the highlights from the HIV/AIDS Day event Mirage over the weekend.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and